Hey everyone! Every video so far has been on general information on narcissists. So this will be my first video in my playlist on relationships with a narcissist. When a narcissist first meets someone, he sizes her up, studies her for a bit. He tries to decide if he can extract some narcissistic supply source out of her. He's like a lion in the corner, scoping out the weaker animals to see which one he wants to hunt. He's not a nice guy, he's a predator. If the woman he sees appears to be strong and confident, he looks at this as a real challenge. If he can overpower a strong person, it means he's stronger and better than her. If she appears insecure and weak, it's easy. Whichever one he picks, he will do his very best to charm her. Remember, it's not sex he's after the way a normal, healthy person wants sex. He might be consciously thinking it's about that, but it's not. It has nothing to do with it. It's about asserting control over someone and gaining validation and attention. I will reiterate some things I've said before. If he has settled for a lower, weaker woman, which he considers to be low-grade supply, he will most likely use her, but he will not idealize her. This will be a quick fling. He'll get a little bit of attention, but he's not totally into it. Remember, a high-grade supply source can only come from someone he can idealize. If he does not idealize her, there will be no idealization phase. That phase is reserved for a woman who he feels deserves his attention, who's beautiful, special, etc., who he can view as a trophy. Once he gets this woman, he will treat her like gold. This is where the love bombing phase occurs. There will be a full video on that concept alone. Once he realizes that she wants more than just a fling, that she wants more intimacy, she wants more attention and more love, he slowly distances himself. Narcissists don't like the concept of love. It's suffocating and trapping and controlling. They like control. They don't want the other person to be in control. They don't look at love as equal. They look at it as the woman is in control. They don't like that. He will distance himself from the situation if he feels he's losing his control. When I first met Robert, he had to talk to me every minute. He wanted to know what I was doing. He wanted to know when I would see him again. He told me I was beautiful. He loved my body, etc. Since they don't actually want you to be strong and confident, they will start to break you down. It's an ego boost if they can make you feel upset. They want to bring everyone down to their miserable level. So he started picking me apart and telling me what he didn't like about me, and it really hurt. I normally wouldn't let someone have that effect on me, but since I was so into him, and he had previously built me up, I sort of let him get away with it. From an outside perspective, it's really hard to understand why someone would put up with that. But when you're in it, you feel stuck. You feel like you've done something wrong, and you have to improve yourself to get back to that idealization level. You feel like you're under a spell, and you don't really understand it. If you've never been in a toxic relationship, you'll never get it. But if you've been in one, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Robert had such a strong hold on me, and I couldn't even explain it to anyone. I felt it, I didn't really understand what it was. There will be an entire video down the road about why we find ourselves stuck in these dynamics and why others can't really understand it. And it's called How to Boil a Frog. It's a very cool concept, and when you break it down, it really opens your eyes as to how these relationships progress. It will be coming very soon. After the initial idealization phase occurs, he will start to pick her apart. He'll think about all the things he doesn't like about her. This is how he avoids true intimacy. As I said in my last video on misogyny, he is fully capable of having sex with someone he doesn't really know very well. But once the woman wants a closer, more intimate relationship with him, he can't do it anymore. He starts to think of all the negatives. Deep down, he knows he's really terrible, and he knows the person will eventually abandon him. So he wants to do it first. Because remember, they're mad at their mothers, so he wants to abandon her the way he felt that his mother abandoned him. He will be very mean to her. He'll convince himself he doesn't want or need her anymore. He's bored. He goes off in search of his next victim, who will provide him with a fresh dose of supply. This particular phase is the devalue stage. After this comes the discard phase. he flat out leaves her. Sometimes there's a formal breakup, sometimes he doesn't say anything, and the partner is left very hurt and confused, unsure of what she did wrong. The reality is she didn't do anything wrong. When you have no experience with toxic people, you just assume that everyone is good and that they all want the same things as you. They want to date. They want to have normal sex. They want to build a normal relationship. So when you encounter a guy like this, it's a total mindfuck because you won't see it coming, and why would you? If you don't understand people like this, if you've never dealt with them, why would you even assume that there are people like this? So after the discard phase, you will have no idea what just happened. This woman could be the most perfect person on the planet. He'll still get bored and leave her because it's not about finding a perfect partner. It's about finding a fresh dose of supply. After the discard phase happens, the narcissist will keep her in a mental warehouse. When he's going through a dry spell, he goes through this warehouse to pick out a previous partner to recycle. If he feels he can extract more supply from her, he'll contact her again. If he can convince her to start seeing him, this is an even bigger ego boost than if she was just a new person. Treating someone really well and then dropping them, trying to get them back and then winning, it's huge for them. Narcissists get off on this. The fact that they can control someone, they can make them feel great, then they can make them feel terrible, then they can just come back into their life and get them back. It's 100% about control, and they love it. There are more buzzwords, which I'll be making separate videos on. I have a few to make first, but here are the basic outlines. There's hoovering, which is named after the Hoover vacuum, which is how they suck you back in after a breakup. Love bombing, as I said, happens during the idealization phase. Also related are love dosing and love breadcrumbs. These are little bits of love to get you sucked back in after a breakup, when they're trying to hoover you. So dosing and breadcrumbs happen during the hoover phase. It's just enough to catch your attention and convince you to come back. Dosing and breadcrumbs are very diluted forms of love bombing. Then there's the grand finale, which is the very last breakup you will ever have with them. If you were just a fling, there may not be a closing conversation, they may just ghost you. The grand finale only happens when you've been in a long-term, somewhat serious relationship with them. There have been highs and lows and multiple breakups along the way. I have a ton of stuff to say on this particular topic because my grand finale was so completely insane. Dana, who has the channel called Narcissist Support, she said that the grand finale is like going from a fairy tale romance to a somewhat rocky relationship to a Lifetime TV movie, and that's extremely accurate. The last one is when both masks slip. He's no longer the awesome person that you thought you knew. He's also no longer the sad and scared child. He's pure evil. The grand finale only happens when he knows it's completely over. He knows you're not giving him any more supply. He knows that you know he's fake. And that's when he lets his masks drop. The masks slip only during the grand finale phase. These topics will appear in my new playlist called Relationships and Red Flags of a Narcissist.